and welcome to another longsword video with Noah. It's a beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest, cloudy and slightly rainy. Today we're going to go over the guards of Vadi and the cuts of Vadi and a solo form that we've done in class that you can do to practice moving between the guards and using the cuts of the Italian longsword system from Phillipo di Vadi. So we'll start off with our first guard. We'll start off with the high guards, middle guards, and then the low guards. So the high guard, the first high guard that we'll look at is Porta di Falcone, or Porta Falcone, guard of the falcon. You have the sword on your right shoulder with your right leg forward, hands together, feet kind of close, not super far, but also not in this very tall position. So this is what it looks like from the left. This is what it looks like from the right. And then moving down from there, we can turn our hands over or cross our hands and bring the left foot forward, also in a very narrow stance, narrower than Porta Falcone. And here we have Porta di Finestra, the guard of the true window. It's on our right side. The hands are in front of the face, cross guard slightly in front of our head, sword pointed forward and up at about 45 degrees in both directions. So here I am standing as if my opponent is the camera. And so from the right side and from the left side in this very tall position. Now if we take our hands and we push them over to our left side and take that right foot forward, so now we're in a similar stance just on the other side. This is posta frontale. Same general hand position in front of the face. Fingers are pointing up when I extend them. Guard slightly in front of the head. So again, if the camera is my opponent, this is how it looks facing my opponent, and then from the back. From here, we can extend our tip, once again, about 45 degrees up, 45 degrees forward. Kind of how that guard is formed. We can extend the tip forward, and we have our hands either extended or slightly retracted. And here, notice my arms, my elbows are low. I'm not chicken winging this, and I wasn't doing it for Porta Frontale or Porta Finestra either. Keeping my elbows nice and tight and low. So back to the next guard, Porta Breve, or Porta Breve di Spada Longhezza, the short guard of the longsword. Kind of weird name, but it's on our left side, almost like an ox, except we have, instead of our hands above our head, we have our hands at shoulder height, extended forward and slightly off to our left. So this is what it looks like from the left, looking at me. If the camera is my opponent, right, I'm pointing my sword at the camera, and then from the right side, again, this is also a very tall guard. And then if we take our hands and we push them to the right side, crossing them once again, this time, again, taking our left foot forward. Now we are in Posta Sagittaria, or the guard of the archer. So this is what it looks like from the right side. Same general philosophy as Porta Breve. Sword at shoulder height, guard extended forward and pushed off to our right side. So this is what it looks like if the camera is my opponent. And then once again, from the back. And so those are our high into middle guards. Porta Falcone, right leg forward. Porta Finestra, left leg forward. Porta Frontale, right leg forward. Porta Breve, right leg forward. Extended, tip forward. Porta Sagittaria, left leg forward. Extended, tip forward. All right, so from there, we start to get into the lower middle guards. So Porta Breve, Porta Sagittaria are the high middle guards. And then we have our low middle guards, starting on the right side with our right foot forward again, Porta di Donna. So hands are over the right hip, just outside of our hip. You could even set the pommel on your hip and kind of point the tip slightly off to the right side. So from the left side, this is what it looks like. From the front again, right? We want that cross guard to be just outside of our arm so that we're not sneaking any hits past that to get us on the hand. So when you form it, don't form it pointing in or pointing centrally, because then this right flank is exposed. We want that off to the right side, just outside of our elbow shoulder, to keep our flank covered. And then from the right side. And this is a slightly wider stance, so right up on our high guards, we're in this tall, narrow position, maybe slightly bigger. And then Porta di Donna, we're in that more traditionally athletic stance. We're nice and lowered, our feet are about shoulder width apart, knees are over the toes, and so on. And so from Porta di Donna, we can transition the sword over into the left side, and now this is Vadi's Posta Corona. It's a bit lower than what we've seen in other sources, but I believe that's because his Posta Frontale and Posta Breve are covering that high line, and you can kind of have them slightly lower and they still count. But on that left hip, right foot forward, this is now Posta Corona. And same philosophy as Posta di Donna, we want to have that just outside of our shoulder to keep our flank covered. So what that looks like from the left, forward, from the right. And now if we take our left foot and do a passing step forward, here we are in Posta Lunga della Spada Curta, which is basically just Posta Lunga. So same philosophy again as the previous two. We want that formed just outside our left flank, left shoulder, so that we're not getting any sneaking hits in. So from the left, forward again, from the right. So those are our low middle guards. And then from there we have the last four, which are our low guards, which are point offline, tip down. The first of which is Porta di Ferro Forte, the strong Porta di Ferro. Where's that? No, sorry. This is the strong Porta di Ferro. Left foot forward, tip off to our right, kind of just resting along our hips, leaving us exposed because it's a bait. We want our opponent to come with an attack. So from the left side, notice you can't really see my sword. That's because it's not pointing back and it's not pointing forward. You can kind of be in a range of that, but generally I hold it pretty much perpendicular to my torso. Again, in that athletic stance. And so from there, if we switch our feet, so we pass forward with the right foot, now we are in Piana Porta di Ferro, which is the weak, the weak Porta di Ferro, weak. But everything you do from Porta di Ferro can also be done from Piana Porta di Ferro. And so from here, I guess showing from the right side, showing from the left side. Once again, generally a comfortable, relaxed position to stand in, ready to initiate into one of the other guards. So from Piana Porta di Ferro, if we take the sword and we bring it over to our left side so that it's over our left hip and then tip pointing forward. So once again, the camera is my opponent. Here, this is Posta di Dente de Cinghiale, the guard of the boar's tooth, ready to initiate with a falso reverso, a rising falso reverso, or a thrust, or whatnot. So once again, from the right side, from the left side, from the right side. And from there, if we pass forward with the left foot, now we are in Cinghiale e Son di Fora, which is the other boar's tooth. Almost exactly what that translates to, or the other side. Sword is again in the same position over the left foot. For this, I take a little from Cinghiale Porta di Ferro from the Bolognese system, where I'm slightly angling my foot off to the left, because when you have that directly in front of you, it's a lot weaker. So my opponent is the camera. I'm ready to, again, do that falso rota. So from the right side, forward, left side. so on. And with all of these, my sword is pointing kind of at my opponent, even though it's not really a true threat at the moment. It's a potential threat. So those are the guards of Phillipo di Vadi. We have the first one, Posta Falcone, Posta Frontale, Posta Vera Finestra, Posta di Donna, Posta Corona, Posta Longa, oh, Posta Breve, Posta Sagittaria, Porta di Ferro, Piana, Porta di Ferro Forte, Cinghiare, Dente dei Cinghiare e San Defora. So that's 1, 2, 3, Frontale, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 guards in Vadi system, just like in Fiore. So those are the guards. Up next, we've got the cuts. So we'll start with the fendenti, the descending cuts. Up first, we'll start in Posta Vera Finestra, and to perform a mandrito fendente, which is a cut from the right side, or translated to a forehand cut, you untwist the arms, and then you perform that descending cut either with a step forward with the right foot or a step forward with the left foot. In practices, we've been doing with the left foot because that's a very typical Vadi thing. I think I've been slowly creeping. That's a typical Vadi thing, is to step and cut into the lead foot. So that's why we practice it at practice. But at home, you can do and should do either, both forward or retreating. So that's the mandrito fendenti. From Posta Frontale, we do the reverso fendente, or the backhand fendenti. From here, we now cross our hands and then cut the fendenti. So you have to start with a chambering action before you turn. So here's what it looks like from the side for Posta Vera Finestra, the mandrito fendenti. For Posta Frontale, the reverso fendenti. The other side, mandrito fendente and reverso fendente. Oh, I did that with a left foot step. See, either is valid. So those are the fendente. Up next, we have what are called the volanti, or the middle cuts. Vadi likes to say that any cut done from the right side, so a mandrito, is performed with the true edge, and any cut performed from the left side is done with the false edge. This is true, but also not always. In practice, we've been doing the volanti, the reverso volanti, with a false edge cut because it's an awkward action. That's why we're practicing it in practice. You can do it with the true edge by doing the crossing of arms for that cut. So what the volanti look like, they can be done either at shoulder height or torso or even hip. So starting in Posta Vera Finestra again, this time I'm going to do a right foot step. I can cut that mandrito volanti, and then from Posta Frontale, I can cut the reverso volanti, and that time I did it with the true edge by crossing my hands and then cutting. So here, crossing the hands and then drawing across. So that's the two volanti, along with the third volanti, third in quotes, the reverso falso volanti, where you have to drop the tip and kind of cross your arms, and then you immediately uncross them. So from the side, I begin to cross my arms like I'm going to turn the true edge, either fendente or volanti, but instead I quickly uncoil them with a snap. So kind of a little close up here, holding Posta Frontale, start to coil, unsnap, uncoil with a snap, and then I step to the left. So those are the volanti. And then up next, we have the rota, or the rising cuts. And those can be done 4 ways, with the true edge and the false edge on either side. So that's 4 rota. From the right side, and you don't see this one too terribly often. Notice I'm standing in Piana, or Porta di Ferro Forte. You can turn a false edge cut. So from the side, that looks like this. Or a true edge, where you just kind of twist up using your knuckles as your alignment, whereas with the falso, I'm using my thumb as the alignment. So a little close-up of that. Here's a slightly angled position. Here, I have the sword. I hope you can see it. I don't know. I can't see my camera. My thumb, right here, this guy, for the falso, I'm using it to lead. I'm pointing the thumb up as I perform that cut. Whereas with the true edge, I use my knuckles and my fingers to guide that cut. So now from Posto Dente de Cinghiale, we can do the reverso rotas. Again, false edge, which from Dente de Cinghiale is extremely easy. Again, using your thumb as the guiding line, I bring that up across my body for a parrying action. If I wanted to turn it into a true edge rota, I would have to cross my hands and then guide with the knuckles. So those are the rota. Those are the cuts of Vadi. With that, I'm getting kind of hot. With that, we can combine these and mix and match them essentially to create any sort of solo exercise you want. Starting in any guard, starting with any cut, you can do whatever. So we'll start with the easier one, where we start with Posta Vera Finestra, and we perform a Mandrito Fendente, and then we do a falso reverso rota, and then we come back down with a reverso fendente, and then a true edge Mandrito rota, and then from here, this is Posta Frontale, we can do a true edge reverso volante, and then a true edge Mandrito volante. And if you so choose, you can do another reverso falso volante. So that's kind of one way to mix and match. Or you could start in any of the other guards. So if I were to say start in Posta di Donna, I could turn a true edge volante, followed by a reverso fendente, followed by a true edge volante, followed by a reverso falso rota, and so on. So you can mix and match as you choose and as you want, and I highly encourage you to do it as much as possible in as large of a variety as possible, because that's pretty much the best way to get used to doing things, is just to practice them. So here's one solo form that we've done in class at the beginning of each class. Starting in Posta Vera Finestra, we cut a Mandrito Volante into our left leg. From there, we extend a thrust into Posta Sagittaria, or not Posta Sagittaria, sorry, Posta Breve, and then perform a reverso rota, or not reverso rota, reverso fendente into Posta di Donna. So we can do this back and forth as much and as long as possible. So a little side to side, I'll walk a little ways so I can go back and forth. Posta Vera Finestra, let's say here, Posta Vera Finestra, Mandrito Fendente into Posta Lunga, thrust into Posta Breve, Reverso Fendente, hello helicopter, I'll wait, pause, Reverso Fendente into Posta di Donna, thrust into Posta Sagittaria, Mandrito Fendente into Posta Lunga. And we can go back and forth as long as we want. And it's a good way to practice thrusting like Vadi tells us to, and then following with a cut around using his principle of rotare, or rotation. So a quick recap of what that is. Vadi tells us 3 ways to do that. Really, it's 2 ways, but 3 ways to do that, where we have the sword extended from a thrust, and then we turn the knuckles up into posta breve or posta sagittaria. The reason we turn the knuckles up is because it primes us for a cut around, and that is the rotare. So the thrust occurs, we turn into posta breve or posta sagittaria, and then we just twist the hands in front of us, cutting along that same line, or cutting along the circular line, so to speak. So thrust, knuckles up, and then circumscribing a circle with the tip. And you can do the same thing in posta sagittaria. So that's part of that drill. That's one example of what you can do. I think the last class that we did, I came up with a really confusing one on the spot. Let's see if I can remember it. So starting in, here, I'll step back a smidge. Starting in posta vera finestra, we cut the mandrito, the mandrito fendente, push the thrust, and then the reverso fendente. This time we'll end in Porta di Ferro piana. And then we'll do a true edge mandrito rota, and then a false edge mandrito rota, reverso rota, and then a true edge mandrito volante. And now my back is facing the camera, so true edge mandrito volante, and then kind of like we were doing with the rotare principle, we do a rotare again. However, this time we turn the sword over for the falso volante. So that turning of the hand into the falso volante from the mandrito volante is really awkward. So if I just do the true edge volante, which I guess should be done this way, stepping offline, I perform the same sort of stramazzone action, or the rotare action, and as I come over my head, I push with my right hand to get my thumb on top, and then I sweep along for that false edge. So a very confusing action, but a good way to practice tough hand movements. So once again, I'll do it back the other direction. Start in posta vera finestra with a mandrito volante. Push the thrust, and then a reverso volante ending in Porta di Ferro piana, followed by a true edge mandrito rota, followed by a falso reverso rota, and then a true edge mandrito volante, and then a falso mandrito volante. So there's another long, complicated one. And finally, I'll leave you with a very short, kind of short entrance into the first flow drill, where we do the volante. So you have got 2 different versions of this. First, the true edge mandrito volante, where I turn the volante, and then I do the rotare action into posta di donna, and then from there, that leads us into the first flow drill. And then the second option is the reverso volante. So starting in posta frontale, I perform the reverso volante, and then I do a reverso fendente. And here we are again, back in posta di donna, set up to do the first flow drill. And so on. So yeah, that is the guards of Phillipo di Vadi, the cuts of Phillipo di Vadi, and a few flow drills that you can practice at home. I hope that was informative. If I mixed up any of the guards, please don't be afraid to comment, because I was doing this from memory. So I may have messed up some of the names. But yeah, practice at home and have fun.